What does a typical homeschool day look like? How do I plan an entire school year? After 15 years of home educating my children, I have learned a lot about planning and strategizing to schedule the homeschool day. So in this video, I'm going to tell you about my planning process. And number two, I'm going to tell you about my favorite organizer to keep things straight.
You can get this. The camera.
I know what you like.
Hi there, this is Carolyn from Family Fusion. To begin planning your school year, you want to write down a list of the things that your child needs to cover during the year. First, write down the 4 subjects that are the core subjects of school: writing or language arts, math, science, and history or social studies. Then you can add other subjects such as PE or some kind of exercise or sport that they play, music lessons, poetry, art, anything that you think your child would be really interested in or something that you think is important for them to learn. If you're concerned that you're leaving something out or you may not be remembering something that's important for your child's grade level, you can look at the state guidelines and figure out what is required. After seeing the guidelines, you may want to create a broad spectrum picture of your middle schooler or your high schooler's plan for their education. This will help you kind of give you a roadmap of what subject to teach in which year. Of course, if that's too overwhelming and you just want to try homeschooling this year, that's totally fine too. Just skip ahead to the next step, which will be focused on just planning this coming school year. Grab your personal family calendar and have it on hand. Also, go to calendarlabs.com where you will find a long list of different calendars that you can print with the entire school year on one page. So you can choose which month you want your school year to begin and when you want your school year to end, and then you're going to put it all on one piece of paper. You're going to highlight the days that you intend to do school this coming school year. This is by no means going to lock you into a certain schedule, but it does help to have a plan before you begin the school year. Your goal is to highlight 180 days of the school year that you will be doing full school days. Consider birthdays, consider family visiting or vacation time, and plug that into this calendar. As homeschoolers, we have a lot of flexibility, so you may or may not complete 180 full days of school. But it helps to give you some accountability and to be able to look back and see what you've planned for the year so that you stay up to date with your child's education. Start out by making a chart. Put the days of the week across the top and then list your children down the side in the left margin. You can use sticky notes for the subjects. So if I have math written down on a little note, I know that everyone in the family is going to do some kind of math every day of the week. If you're doing this on paper instead of a whiteboard, write the subject. And if it's going to be done 5 days a week, just draw an arrow across all 5 days. One very important tip is in homeschooling, you want to combine as many subjects as you can and do them as a group. So if history needs to be covered, you can do read aloud literature and do that as a family. Mom can read chapters aloud while everyone in the family listens. You can also do one subject at the same time, but have different students covering different curriculum. So if you write down math, one person might be doing algebra while someone else is working on multiplication tables. You can use that handy teacher's manual to help your older student and work through the problems together while your younger student is still doing math-related games or activities. Decide if you want to do a subject every single day of the week, or if it's something like poetry where you and your children can study poetry one time a week. Start filling in your chart and you're going to start seeing a plan come together. Congratulations, you are ready to make your daily schedule. Looking at your weekly chart, you can now break down each day individually. There are 2 ways to do this. You can assign a time for every subject or activity that you wanted to accomplish on each of those days, or you can do a block scheduling method if you're a little more casual and don't want to be so regimented with the time. You can arrange your day according to when you have meal times together. So you can do a little bit of school before breakfast, do some core subjects during the middle of the morning until lunchtime, and then after lunch you can finish whatever school is left for that day. Maybe your child has an online class that they need to attend. Also, on a daily basis, it's important to have your children have some kind of routine, like having a certain time to be ready for schoolwork. So consider these things as you're blocking out your schedule. Once you've finalized your schedule for each day of the week, you can make a final copy that you'll be able to use throughout the year. So with Excel, you can make it colorful. Each day of the week, we have a different color. So Monday last year, we used green to show when we were doing certain subjects together as a family. And then you can see by the blocking, we had the 2 older students doing Spanish, while the 2 younger students were doing zoology. So you can break it down in blocks, and it's very user-friendly and easy to look at when you're glancing at your schedule, wondering what's next for today. Each student also has their own copy, and it's up to you if you want to do this. I would create a separate copy just for my oldest daughter, where the entire paper would be what she's supposed to do that day. And then another copy for my son with his schedule and so on. And on top of that, I would make one for each day of the week. So Monday has green, Tuesday had a pink color, Wednesday was orange, and if you notice also, the bright yellow means we absolutely can't forget about this and lose track of time, that this actually has a time that's important because that person needs to be online at a certain time for their live class. So we made an extra highlighted portion for each of their online classes. We put each of those papers into one of these clear view protective coverings so that the entire week is all in one little compartment, and then we just rotate the pages according to what day it is. Although it does take a lot of time and effort, having your daily schedule on the different Excel sheets is really helpful. And it also helps the kids know what they're supposed to do each day. Even if not everybody's following the exact timeline that you've set up, it generally says what needs to get done that day. So now you have a daily schedule. Next, we'll talk about tracking all of the assignments, the tests, and the projects that your children complete. When I first began homeschooling, I used a paper pencil planner, and I would check things off as we got them done. But there were 2 reasons I really didn't like using the paper planner after a while. One was it was hard to find past assignments, books we had read, or accomplishments that we had done without thumbing through the whole thing. Second, it was not flexible. Life happens, field trips come up, kids get sick, mom gets sick. If anything messed up the schedule, it would throw everything off for the rest of the school year. I either had to erase the schedule that I had already planned for the school year and change it, or I felt a pressure to do school on the weekend to catch up back to where our plan was originally set. Basically, having plans on paper was not flexible, and it caused a lot of underlying stress. Now I keep track of all the assignments and tests and projects in an online organizer, and I love it. The organizer that I use comes from a website called simplycharlottemason.com. You may just want to check out the website itself. It has a section where it talks about 5 different homeschooling styles, so you can figure out which one you fit best. It also has a discussion panel, podcasts, and a book finder, so you can find particular books for your student's age or grade level, or even by subject. And it even links it to Amazon or your local library. In addition, there is the CM organizer. which is the Charlotte Mason Organizer. I became interested in a method called the Charlotte Mason method, which is really an educational model based on a woman named Charlotte Mason who lived in the late 1800s to the early 1900s, and she reformed a lot of the methods that were used in the education system in England during that time period. So she believed in a broad education, including a lot of arts, a lot of good literature, poetry, and a lot of nature study. Many subjects during the day in short increments to give each child a chance to really expand their imagination and really learn and absorb a lot of information all throughout the day. Using this book, there was a DVD set with this book that I ordered from the website, and I absolutely loved the way she broke it down and walked me through how to plan my school day with my children. It changed the way that I homeschooled because it kept me on track a lot better. And now, because I've been using the website for about 5 years, I can go back and look at what we've done through the years, especially as my kids have gotten older and middle school and high school records are more important, so that you can create a transcript, one full day entering all of the assignments for the entire school year, and then I'm done. The first thing I love about it is that you can designate certain subjects for specific days of the week. So if you're planning to do something once a week, like art study or poetry, then you can plug that into a Thursday, and every Thursday that assignment or that subject is going to show up. The next thing I love about it is how specific you can be. You can put in a certain curriculum with a particular assignment that will be in order throughout the year, and you can divide it however you like. You can list it by chapter or completing a certain number of pages or lesson. It also lets you choose a start date, or you can begin a certain book or assignment after another book or assignment. So it will automatically transition as you finish one thing and go on to the next. Sometimes you have things that you want to enter in that are not necessarily curriculum. In a more general sense, you can just put PE on there, and then in the comments box specify which physical activity your child is doing. You can also enter chores in. I just started doing this last year after realizing nobody kept up with vacuuming or their laundry as regularly as we liked. So each day of the week, a different child has vacuuming or laundry assigned to them for that day, and it shows up on their list. To create more independence in the kids, I love the fact that I can print off a list for each child in the family, and throughout the day with their pencil they can mark things off. Then at the end of the day, I can go back into the computer and input everything that each person has completed. And if something wasn't done, the best thing about this planner is that it saves it and you can take off from where you left off the next day. I printed a student schedule so that you might be able to see what a list would look like. This one is Nathaniel's. He's in 9th grade. Up above, there's a weekly overview. Then you have the daily assignment and what tasks he's supposed to complete. And it goes over on the back too for other subjects. For example, math says geometry, and then below that you can see the lesson that he's supposed to accomplish. There's a W, meaning he worked on it and maybe didn't finish it that day, and you can click that off. Or you can do F for finished, and you can completely minimize that particular subject. Flexibility is by far the best thing about this organizer. I love that we can take a break, it never expires, and it doesn't go away. And when we come back to whatever assignment we left off with, it's there. It serves as a record keeper. I have had the planner for at least 5 years, and I can go back to any day in particular in the last 5 years and see what was done. My daughter is entering her junior year this fall, and I was able to create a transcript very easily because I could go back in the Charlotte Mason Organizer and see all that she's accomplished over these last 2 years. The Charlotte Mason website has no idea that I'm making this video. They are not compensating me in any way. I truly just wanted to help fellow homeschool families with being able to keep track of all the things that they've accomplished. I tried a 1-month free trial to get used to the system and discovered I was really exploring and really enjoying using it. So then I started paying the $7.99 a month to continue using it. Whether you use this system or some other system, it is really exciting to look back and see the full and broad education that you've given your children in your home with love. I really sincerely hope that this video has helped someone out there plan their first homeschool year with the daily schedule and also with keeping track of everything in an organizer. If you have comments or questions about homeschooling, I would be happy to answer those in a future video. Just stick those comments and questions in the box below. Happy homeschooling!